Minor chords are always better than major chords. Prove me wrong. Of course, this statement is absolute nonsense. But what I do want to show you is how you can replace a major chord whenever you want something different yet similar. This will give you more options in expressing yourself, creating variation, and also has better options for voice leading. Tell me, can you hear the difference between these two progressions? And pay close attention and listen carefully, because there will be no score. The differences are very subtle, so don't sweat it if you did not catch it on the first hearing. You can also see this technique in action in my video about the perfect soundtrack made by Sufjan Stevens. He uses it to create variations, ambiguity, and emotional impact. What it all boils down to is the fact that you just replace a major chord with a minor chord. But watch out, because it's not just any minor chord. There are two things that you need to keep in mind. Number one, the minor chord needs to be in first inversion. And number two is that you need to keep in mind that the minor chord is the lower diatonic median of the major chord. Point number one. When any chord is in its first inversion, that means that not the root note is the lowest note, but the third is the lowest note of the chord. Just listen to how different the first inversion sounds when you compare it to the chord in root position. Number two. For this technique, the minor chord needs to be the lower diatonic median of the major chord. And I know that sounds like a mouthful, but it really is easier than it sounds. Here are all the chords of C major lined up, and each chord has an upper and a lower median. Median chords are chords that are a third apart from each other, no matter if it's a major or a minor third. The fact that we call it a diatonic median just means that the chords that we use are from a certain key and we stick to it. And in this case it's C major, and there will be no accidentals. Let's look at the harmonies of the C major key again. If I want to replace the F major with a minor chord, then D minor in first inversion is our ideal candidate. Or if you want to replace the G major, then E minor in first inversion is then our ideal candidate. So why is it that these chords sound so similar, and why is it that you can use them to replace one another? When you line them up, you can see that the bass note is the same, and there's only one note that's different between these chords. So keep in mind that whenever you have a chord progression which is too heavily major oriented, or you just want to have some extra variation and extra color, then keep this technique in mind, because it's incredibly simple and super effective. For voice leading purposes, these kind of replacements are also often preferred, but I'll save that for a different video on voice leading. In any case, you can already use this technique to extend your harmonic colors and your variation options. Don't forget to like and share this tip if it was useful. And for now, see you next time.